The President of the Legislative Council. The Chief Executive. Members, order please. I won't issue further warnings. If you continue to shout, you have to leave the chamber immediately. The Chief Executive will first address the Council. The President, members, good morning. Today, this is the first time that I attend the question and answer session of the CE during this legislative year. Well, since the last time I came here to deliver my policy address in October the 10th, 6 months have already elapsed. Therefore, today I have issued a written report, 7,000 words in Chinese and English, covering the progress of our work since the policy address. Well, in fact, the progress is good in relation to implementing the policy initiatives. Only on 3 items we have seen a delay. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the joint efforts of all the principal officials, the civil servants, as well as members of this council. Well, it is a coincidence in some sense that on the same occasion last year, at that time, 32 LegCo members just completed their 5-city visit in the Greater Bay Area. And last month, the President, Mr. Andrew Leung, led 22 LegCo members in a tour to visit the Yangtze River Delta region. Well, you went to Shanghai and Hangzhou. I think you have a very rich itinerary, and you were received by very senior ranking officials. On 2 duty visits, we have seen the same message. Better grabbing the opportunities of the development on the mainland will be good for our future planning. And to keep our competitiveness, we have to make efforts to improve upon our existing status. We can't afford to mark time. Last year, you went to the Greater Bay Area, and this year you went to Shanghai and Hangzhou. And your observations are shared by me during my 2-year tenure as the Chief Executive. Probably I can add another perspective to the observations. During the interim, the central authorities have been supporting us in integrating into the overall development of the nation, and they have been facilitating measures to help the people of Hong Kong to live, to work, and to develop on the mainland. I think it is good, and I would like to take this opportunity to give a brief account. For the facilitation measures, there are a number of them. First of all, helping the people. Well, in August 2017, December 2017, and then August 2018 and March 2019, a number of facilitating measures were announced by the central authorities. Those eligible Hong Kong residents living on the mainland can get a residence permit, and they are entitled to certain facilitation measures. And understand that as of March, 120,000 Hong Kong residents have applied for the residence permit. It will be facilitating in terms of their tax payment. In other words, any stay of less than 24 hours on the mainland will not count as a day of presence. And there are also concessionary measures for young people to go there to set up enterprises. Next week, I'm going to visit Guangdong, and I will meet with the mayor. I will meet with Ma Xingrui, and we will roll out the scheme. And then our students studying on the mainland will be given the same treatment as the mainland students. And then we are going to work through the Ministry of Technology as well as the CAS so as to address our aspirations concerning technology funding. As a result, we have been successful in getting the technology funding being used in Hong Kong. And then for the majority of the mainland universities, they have waived the need for students to sit examinations, and therefore there are more choices for further studies. In the year 2019-2020, there will be 120 such institutions. Some of them would also be new to the scheme, like like those institutions nurturing musical talents, arts talents, etc. And then just last month, there were 5 major initiatives being announced so that there would be relaxations concerning our film industry. Our practitioners can make it easier to enter the mainland market. And then there are also 2 major national initiatives. There is the Belt and Road Initiative as well as the Greater Bay Area Development. Well, our role has been firmly established. Say, for example, last month we led a senior level delegation to attend the second Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation in Beijing. It is a very senior level forum, and our delegation was a strong team with 68 participants. There were 12 forums, and we were able to speak at 11 of them, and were able to speak at the major forum for entrepreneurs. And then we have got a dedicated session of 40 minutes to let us talk about the advantages of Hong Kong. For the Greater Bay Area, in February, the Outline Development Plan was promulgated. And in fact, our competitive edge, our strengths have been highlighted, and we can contribute to the national development. What is important is that among the many support measures, the central authority has been firm in upholding the principle of one country, 2 systems. Well, I'm the chief executive accountable to both the central authority as well as the Hong Kong SAR. As I have said at the ceremony when I took office, I will be firm in delivering the policies. I will defend the rule of law, and I will be the promoter in promoting the relationship between the central authority and Hong Kong. Recently, in relation to the amendments to the Fugitive Offenders Ordinance as well as the Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters Ordinance, well, there have been some extreme views and unnecessary fears, probably as a result of misunderstanding. And then we understand that there have been certain sort of confrontations between the mainland and Hong Kong. I feel sad. In fact, we are trying to provide more safeguards. I think we should find ways to have more safeguards instead of having any views against the amendment. If we allow that to happen, it means that we become the haven for criminals and our safety will be jeopardized. Ted Hui, if you continue to shout from your seat, I will regard it as grossly disorderly conduct. Finally, I would like to say that my team and myself would continue to elaborate on the amendment proposals, and then for any practical suggestions raised by anybody will be considered by us. Yes, what is your point of order, Dr. K.K. Kwok? Well, the CE spent a lot of time to tell lies with open eyes, talking about the people of Hong Kong to understand the ordinance or the bill which would send us to mainland. I don't like that. I don't want that. I would rather give this to her. Dr. K.K. Kwok, you have to leave the chamber immediately. Mr. Horace Chang. Mr. President, I hope that we can spend this hour to find solutions to our problems in the society. Well, for the voluntary health insurance scheme, which has been mooted for many years, came into effect on 1st of April, hoping that patients will be diverted to the private health sector so as to ease the workload on the public sector. And in fact, the administration has got a target that is 1 million people taking out voluntary health insurance. And in fact, the government has set aside 4 sites for the development of private hospitals so as to tie in with the VHIS. Unfortunately and regrettably, so far only 1 private hospital has been built and commissioned. Therefore, we have got such worries in the society. In case the VHIS has led to a growth in the demand for private hospital services, can our existing private hospitals cope, and will the waiting time become longer and longer? Recently, I have met with a group which is actively pursuing the matter of building a new private hospital. Well, they try hard to plan for a private hospital so as to echo the VHIS promotion. But then in the course of planning, they don't get any policy support from the relevant bureau. As a result, the progress is indeed very slow. In other words, one department encourages the building of private hospitals. Another department would only do things according to the book, and they are obstructing the matter. I know since taking up the office, you have come up with very good policies for us. However, I can tell you that there is a very serious problem here. That is, within the government, we have got different bureaus and departments. I don't think they have been coordinated in their work, and therefore they have been counterproductive in relation to this problem. Do you have a good solution? Thank you, Mr. Zhang, for his question. I think the focus of his question is broader than just the specific issue of the VHIS or the private hospitals. I won't deny that, and in fact, this phenomenon is not unique to the SAR government. Many other governments also have to live with this problem. There is a lack of sufficient coordination. Sometimes the right hand doesn't know whether the left hand is moving in the same direction. Well, you ask for solutions. Well, soon after I took office, I have already emphasized that I have made it clear to my ruling team as well as the civil servants that is for current term government, we need to have collaboration. Collaboration, in other words, we want to be a government with full collaboration among ourselves. It's easier said than done because we're talking about huge organization, 70 departments and bureaus in total. But we're still working on it, and you can see that within a bureau, if a particular issue has to get the help from other bureaus or departments, they can approach myself as well as the 3 secretaries of departments for coordination. Say, for example, yesterday we have had a few hours meeting to talk about our marine service. We would like to enhance our shipping industry, and it involved a large number of departments. We could not accommodate everybody, even when we sat at a large table. Well, of course, this is not the most satisfactory approach. I think all departments should coordinate among themselves to achieve our targets. Mr. Zhang, it takes time to have a cultural change. Of course, every department is under the scrutiny of the public. Many officers are worried that if they step outside of their own portfolios, they may be criticized unnecessarily. So I think we have to steer members of the civil service and our team towards such a sort of a perspective. Last year, with your support, we're able to establish the PICO, that is the Policy Innovation and Coordination Office. And this office gives assistance to me directly in terms of collaboration and coordination. Say, for example, last year in my policy address, I talked about having public markets being built in Tongchong and Tinshui in relation to coordination among the Home Affairs, Lands Department, etc. It was the PICO that steered the matter. And so we're going to work along this direction.
In relation to the case you've just cited, you're most welcome to refer the case to PICO. We will provide one-stop service as for coordination. Mr. Elvin Yeo. Mr. President, I have a question for the Chief Executive. Yesterday, the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission published its report saying that if the extradition law is reviewed and if the government's proposal is to go ahead, there will be far-reaching implications to the relations between U.S. and the UK. And the International Chamber of Commerce has also spoken. They said that if the extradition bill is passed, it will seriously undermine the business environment of Hong Kong. They support the Greater Bay Area as well as the Belt and Road initiatives, yet they have spoken. The US government, the EU, as well as the UK government have spoken against the extradition bill because they have all expressed a concern about the implications of the bill on Hong Kong. The government, the USCC report said that the government said that they have drawn reference from international model law. If that is the case, how come there is serious concern expressed by the international arena? Is it because that all other countries have misunderstood your bill? Only you can correctly understand that bill. In relation to Mr. Young's question, in relation to the extradition law, this question and answer session allow us to have more than 3 minutes to go into detail. Mr. Young and some other members have often quoted what other governments have said, that they say, for example, that the US government has said this and that. In this present moment, there is the looming trade war. I ask legislators to open their eyes and to look at reality in its face and correctly understand the bill. The spirit of the bill and its relations with the international community. If you do not believe me or my government, let me tell you something about something that happened in 1996, as well as the original intentions of expressed in 1997. The words were expressed in English, and I will have to quote.
Have Hong Kong become a haven for fugitives, or to allow criminals to avoid justice and the rule of law by seeking refuge in other places. It is well recognized that if Hong Kong is to continue its success, to maintain its reputation as a law-abiding community, and to strengthen its status as an international commercial and financial center, it is important that we should not allow any gap in the relations with our law enforcement partners on surrender of fugitive offenders after 30th June 1997. 呢個係逃犯移交條例嘅初心。
That is a statement made in relation to the extradition law. About this bill, as the Secretary for Security has said and as expressed in a number of documents, the focus is on the Taiwan case. We could not extradite the offender to Taiwan to uphold justice. And we now clearly see that there is a gap. There is a blank space. The law doesn't apply to China. Say, for example, with Taiwan, with China, and with Macau, there is no extradition law. Well, we can work on a case-by-case basis. But we cannot actually implement the procedure. That's why in the past decade there has never been any case properly dealt with. That's why we have used the opportunity to introduce a bill. If you agree with the original intent back then, because it was fully discussed, how come that today when we embark on a similar exercise, there is a completely different view, Mr. Elvin Young? The chief executive talks about the original intent. When the FOO was endorsed in 1997, it was a deliberate act to prevent offenders from being extradited to the mainland, and that is the case for the past 2 decades. That's the original intent. If you're so concerned about our international status, can you ignore the views of the international community? Is it the case that you can ignore the views of the 130,000 people, the Democratic Party, the international community? How come that you have ignored the views of Albert Chan as well as some other loyalists? Is it the case that you are correct, only you are correct, only Teresa Chang is correct, and only John Lee is correct? You don't have to be so worked up. I will take my time to answer you. Well, the Fugitive Offenders Ordinance said that this does not apply to the mainland. That wasn't deliberately. It's not because of the case that some people were scared of the legal system on the mainland. In the liaison committee, some people said that, that would affect the handover. I think they are all nonsense. You may refer to the files of the LegCo. I don't lie. You may refer to the documents. Ms. Claudia Mo, you have openly say that the chief executive is lying. Are you going to withdraw that accusation? Sorry, speakers off mic. This is seriously offending remark. If you do not withdraw what you've said, please leave the chamber, Ms. Mo. This is a very serious accusation. This is in breach of the rules of procedure. Please. Sorry, speakers off mic. Please withdraw your remark. Point of order. Ms. Claudia Mo, I'm now dealing with Ms. Mo's remark. Ms. Claudia Mo. This is an offensive remark, and it's a serious one. Sorry, speakers off mic. Sorry, speakers off mic. We will adjourn the meeting. We'll suspend it.